Toastmaster. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters, guests. So, some of you may have seen my last speech last year. It was about gold, although we have a lot of new members, so maybe just a few of you saw it. I had a speech about gold and the value of gold. So tonight my speech is going to be about silver, in particular sterling silver. So what is sterling silver? Sterling silver is 92% silver. So this is a sterling silver candlestick, and as you can see, it's tarnished. Another thing to know about sterling silver is that it tarnishes, and when it tarnishes, people think it doesn't have value, but it does, because most of the value is in the silver. Silver is at $30 an ounce. Sterling is 92% silver. Now this is all American sterling silver. It all must be marked sterling somewhere on the piece. And this is also weighted, which means there's like cement inside. So it's heavy, but it's actually just about an ounce of silver. So I'll pass this around. Pass that around. And my second piece, this is a Tiffany sterling silver bowl. So this Tiffany sterling silver bowl has a value of about $10,000. No, not $10,000. This has a value of about $600 or $700. Basically, 90% of all the sterling silver you're going to see, whether flatware like knives, forks, spoons, or serving pieces, the value is determined by the amount of silver. So this weighs about 16 or 17 ounces. Plus, it's a Tiffany bowl, so it has a little extra value. So it's worth about $700. Now, this can also be heavily tarnished. People have been known, if this was tarnished like that candlestick, people have been known to sell it at a garage sale maybe for $5 because they don't know that it's sterling silver. Because actually most silver that you see in your home, your grandparents' house, flatware, serving pieces, it's not sterling silver at all. It's silver plate, which is silver over copper. So whereas a sterling silver flatware set that you might inherit from your grandparents that serves 12 people could be worth $2,000 because it's pure silver. A silver plate flatware set might be worth a few $100s. But like I said, some of the key things is that all sterling, how do you know if this bowl is sterling or silver plate? You better know, because if you sell it for $5 and it's worth $600, you're going to be crying the next day. So as I said a couple times already, you have to look and see all American silver. It's going to say sterling and also the company name. And sometimes it's very small too. A lot of older people, or they may not see it if it's tarnished. You have to look very close. They have an eyeglass that jewelers have, and the mark on the piece will say sterling. Perhaps you can take a look at this beautiful bowl. Now I've just talked about American silver, but the fact is, because we used to be a part of England, we have a lot of stuff from Europe, especially antiques. So a lot of silver too we have from Europe. And although a lot of the European silver is going to say sterling, sometimes they use hallmarks. Hallmarks is what they call the mark. And so if it doesn't say sterling, a lot of the European hallmarks, it might be a number like 800, which means it's 80% silver. Or from Great Britain, they have something called the lion passant. It's like a picture of like a lion ready to leave. Or France might have the picture of like the queen or something like this. So the key things to remember are that silver tarnishes, the sterling label can be hard to see, that also there's a lot of European sterling silver that many people don't know the hallmarks, where you can go. I was at the Allstate Arena flea market a few months ago. I bought a sterling silver ladle about this big. It had a hallmark of the lion, which meant it was from England. This guy from Indiana that was selling it, he didn't know what it was. He charged me $5. It was worth $150 because it weighed about 6 ounces. So these are some of the things to know about sterling silver. And the fact is, just about any of us, if you look in your home, or especially if you inherit stuff from your parents or your grandparents, you're going to find a lot of value that you really have to look closely, or you're going to be out of luck. Now what's this? This is something called coin silver. Coin silver was made before 1850. And what coin silver is the early settlers in this country and then also in other countries, they would melt down their silver coins, you know, the rich people, and basically they would make their silverware. So this can also be tarnished too. If this was tarnished like this candlestick, you know, you would think it's a piece of junk. But actually, you know, coin silver is 90% silver instead of 92. But this weighs about 1.5 ounces. So, and just like with sterling, most coin silver, the value is just in the silver. This would be worth about $40 or $50. Now, some things can be worth a good deal more. Some of the sometimes some of the pieces that were designed by some of the people from the South, or if you can get a piece of coin silver that is made by a famous person, it could be worth much more. Or if it's a bit older, from like 1700s or something like this. So these are a few things to look out for. But just to review my fascinating speech, the main thing to differentiate in your home or the things you get from your parents, most of the silver you're going to find in an antique store or wherever you happen to go is actually going to be silver plate, which is not sterling silver at all. It's just silver over copper. But the thing to keep in mind is always look out for the sterling silver, sterling label in America, or if you're in Europe, the other hallmarks, and the fact that keep an eye out for stuff that's tarnished. I've many times gotten sterling silver bowls that were very tarnished. Very hard to see the sterling, and I found the sterling, and I bought it for a few dollars, and it was worth much, much more. So I'll pass around that final piece. As an added bonus, does anyone have any questions about sterling silver, some item they may have in their house where they're not really sure if it's really worth something or not, and they want to ask a professional sterling silver person? Nobody? Ken?
Is there no value in the work, you know, the construction of the piece? You said it only is equal
Right.
to the weight of the silver.
90% of the silver, it's just the weight. Sometimes the designers, a few that are very popular, like George Jensen, I'm sure some of you have heard, his stuff is generally worth more. Or Tiffany stuff that's like older, maybe from 100 years ago. I had a friend who's a real expert. He bought like 3 Tiffany sterling silver plates that were specifically designed for the World's Fair, and they were worth like 3 times scrap. But the thing is, because whereas silver used to be $5 or $10 an ounce 5 or 10 years ago, the design of the piece was what was most important. But the fact is now that silver is $30 an ounce, no one wants to pay the prices for these sorts of things because they're so expensive. So basically what you find are some people like me or others running around to antique shops and flea markets and buying the silver anytime they have a scale and they'll weigh it, and as long as the price is less than the value of the silver, they buy it. They're called scrappers. And a lot of antique people look down on that because they'll be like, you're just gonna melt it down, you're an evil person. But that's just the way the world works today, so I'll leave it at that, and hopefully you won't make the mistake that some people do and toss your sterling silver in the garbage, which friends of mine have told me they've done.